Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. It is a very special interview because I only get her on the show one time a year, maybe two, can't remember. Misty Dodge, your finance director, is here, and today we're going to be taking on your real estate property tax bill. We're going to break the bill down. We do this every single year. I think this is awesome. Every year I feel like I say the same thing, by the way, I've noticed this. I learn something new every year. But more importantly, we want you to be able to ask questions. You guys, the staff is amazing, here to answer your questions. And you have broken this down, as usual, pretty easy. We're going to go this number by number here of each section. So are you ready?
I am.
All right. So tax bills were mailed out. You get your tax bills. The first thing that you should notice in the number one category.
So the first number that we have on the tax bill is the bill number. So every parcel or space of land is assigned a parcel number, and that parcel number stays the same all the time. But it's so many digits, a lot of times people will want to use their bill number instead, which is in the top right corner of the tax bill. If people can reference that bill number on their payment, it just helps us make sure that it gets applied to the right bill. But the cautionary tale is that that bill number changes every year. So make sure that you update that if you're paying, say, through your bank or something like that, and that bill number's in there. Make sure you go in and update it each year. But otherwise, if you could write that on your check, if you're paying by check, that's really helpful. And it's just fewer numbers.
It's probably good because you don't write as many checks maybe as you used to. You might see that number referenced last year. Not the same, though. All right.
Exactly.
Line number 2 is the total assessed value, a very important number.
Yeah, so the assessed value is the value of your property as determined by the city assessor. And that is the number that the property tax bill is based off of. So when the city assesses, they go property by property, and they figure out what your value is. And it's different than the estimated fair market value, which we'll talk about later.
All right. Category number 3, your average assessment ratio.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the city assessor goes property by property. They know all the statistics about what each property looks like, and they have that level of detail. The state does something different, where they just look at sales for the year as kind of a big global picture instead. And when they compare what the state thinks our total value is for all of the city based on this higher level data, compared to what the city assessor has as our total value, the difference between those is that ratio. So you'll see we're at about 96%, which is it's pretty good, right? We want to be right around 100% anytime we do a revaluation.
All right, on to box number 4. It's the total assessment fair market. I'm going to add value to this because I think it always goes with it, but fair market number is?
Yeah, so to calculate that, you take what your assessed value is, which is number 2, and divide it by the average assessment ratio, which is box 3, and that's how you get to number 4. And that's designed to be comparable to what you may be able to sell your house for on the market. This number is more important for communities that don't do revaluations that often because their values might start to lag what the market is. But for us, they're relatively close most years.
All right, on to box 5, the net assessed value rate does not reflect credits.
Yes. And so this is a mill rate, which means it's a rate per $1,000 of value. So it also could be listed as $17.51 per $1,000 of assessed value. And this is the tax rate, or the mill rate, that you may hear people talking about, and is the amount of taxes that each property is expected to pay for their portion of all of the budgets.
All right, moving on to box number 6. It's down a little bit here if you're paying attention, and this is going to be percentage tax change.
Yeah. One of the misconceptions is that because the city of Fitchburg is collecting the taxes, especially in the beginning, is that all of this money goes towards city functions, and that's not quite true. In fact, we are only about a third of the amount that's collected. And so what I do like about the bill is you can see in this section each one of the overlying tax jurisdictions that's included in this tax bill. And so in this example, this is a Madison School District property. So that this tax bill is paying towards the Dane County budget, towards the city of Fitchburg budget, towards the school district, and towards MATC or Madison College. And it lists out each one of those amounts separately. And then you can also see that change by each jurisdiction in total.
What would, for the school district specifically, or any of them, I mean, school districts have referendums that happen, so is that number reflects there, and some of them have each year reoccurring. If you want to learn more, because I think that's a question that's going to come up this year on the school districts, how do you know how theirs is going to change each and every year? What would you recommend they do to learn a little bit more from their jurisdiction?
Yeah, so the best thing would be to reach out to that jurisdiction. And we do have phone numbers and information if people would like us to point them in the right direction. I'm happy to answer all the questions about the city of Fitchburg, but I can't really speak to the school districts and the counties and the jurisdictions about what their budget looks like and what their budget may do. I just take the information from them and use it to calculate the tax bills.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that you can reach out to each of those. They run budgets, they run discussionary points, and can answer questions about why their numbers are changing depending on the year. All right, Misty, moving down to the totals, 7, 8, 9 boxes break it down for you after the total. So first one on 7, your gross total.
Yeah, so this is the gross amount of taxes that is owed by this particular property, so before any credits are applied. And so to calculate this amount, you would take that assessed value that's in box 2 up on the top of the bill, multiply it by the net assessed value mill rate, which is in the top right-hand corner of the bill, box number 5. And when you multiply those two numbers together, that's how you get that tax amount.
Fantastic. Box number 8, first dollar credit.
Yeah, so there's 2 credits that are on the bill in this section. First is that first dollar credit. This credit is automatically applied for any property that has improvements. So if it's a land-only parcel, there won't be a first dollar credit, but if it does have improvements, that first dollar credit will automatically be on there. Nothing needs to be done by the property owner.
And my favorite, the lottery gaming credit.
Yeah, this one is not automatic. So this credit is only for homes that are the primary residence as of 1/1/25. And the dollar amount varies by school district, but it's in that $250 to $300 range as of right now. It's a very simple form to fill out. So if a property notices that this dollar amount is blank and they believe that the home was a primary residence as of 1/1/25, there's an online form to fill out. Very simple form, and then you get that credit.
All right, we're going to jump down to box number 10. It's going to be your net property tax number. Also, your trash pickup.
Yeah, so after we figure out kind of what the tax piece is, there is this box here for special assessments and special charges. So the one that we see the most is the trash pickup. PU is pickup.
PU is still funny to me.
Yep, and so that's an annual charge for residential homes. This pays for the trash collection, the recycling collection, and the brush collection, all as a special charge on the bill. In this section, there could also be delinquent utilities, there could be special assessment installment payments, there could be private septic maintenance. There's a variety of different special assessments and special charges that could be here, but trash pickup is the most common one.
All right, and then it does total out there at the bottom for what your full payment will look like, but we're going to come back to that in just a second, I bet. Number 11, it has to do with making your check payable too.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, City of Fitchburg collects property taxes for just the first installment. So we will collect through January 31st. Property owners are welcome to pay whatever amount they'd like to. If they want to pay it in full, they want to pay just the first installment or something in between. But end of the day, they're going to want to make sure that at least that first installment is made so that they can continue with the installments without interest and penalty.
All right, and then box 12 on the second installment payment, again, after January 31st, we're talking about a different entity collecting.
Exactly. So after January 31st, we turn all of that responsibility over to Dane County. And so any payments, whether it's, again, the second installment or any delinquent payment, would need to go to the county instead. And that address is included on here.
And just so you know, there was an insert that was included in your tax bill that has how you can make those types of payments too. So we're not necessarily going through that today, but that is on there for you if you're curious about the methods of which you can pay. That is on there. We move on to box 13, taxing jurisdiction. Again, a little review here. I remember when you said they added this, and this is nice.
Yeah. So they added it probably 4 or 5 years ago now. We've been doing this for a while.
Yes, we have.
So this section here is only for non-recurring referendums. And the purpose of it is so that a property owner can look at this section and see how much of this particular tax bill is going to that non-recurring referendum and when it's going to end. So in this example, this is a Madison school district. So there's 2 non-recurring referendums currently active. You can see they pay a little over $200 and a little over $400 for each one of them, and they will end in 2042 and 2045. Big thing to keep in mind, again, this is just the non-recurring ones. So if there's a referendum that included, say, a building that would be non-recurring and staffing that would be recurring, the staffing piece won't be on here. It's just the non-recurring one.
Again, why we mentioned that you can check with your jurisdiction to see how that budget plays out, so to speak, just like we do our budget process here at the City Hall. And finally, box number 14, check for billing address change. So important to check this every year. Check into it.
Check into it, yes. Only check it if you actually need to change your address. So we can't change a property address. That would need to go through the county register of deeds. But if you want your tax bill to go to a different address, that is something Fitchburg can take care of for you. We see this often if like people go somewhere else for the break or they take an extended time away and they want it sent somewhere else. Just check that box, write down for us where you would like your property tax bill to go instead, and we will make sure that gets updated in the system.
All right, again, the staff is here to help you answer any questions when you do come to make those payments. We have the tax insert as well that has a lot of questions on it. We will actually do another interview that talks about how the tax bill works and your general questions, so you can check that interview out as well. Misty, anything else people should know from their tax bill this year?
Yeah, no, thanks again for shouting out to the staff. The staff is here to help. Our website also has a lot of great information. Let us know if you have questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Misty.
Thank you.